Did you know that according to a study conducted by Finder.com, a total of 126.5 million American adults, or 56.9%, admitted they made a money mistake in their lifetime? Lower income earners tend to admit more that they made some financial mistakes than middle income or high income earners. For instance, 37.5% of the people earning $25,000 a year admitted making a mistake in their finances, compared to 1.8% for those earning $300,000 or more. That's why in today's video, I will share with you 5 money mistakes you should avoid in building wealth. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Munif Ali, a self-made multimillionaire, and I'm here to guide you towards financial success. I started with literally nothing growing up in the projects, and I know that wealth is very possible for everyone. Money mistake number 1. Not paying credit card debt in full. A credit card isn't evil, but one of the biggest mistakes that you can make is not paying your credit card debt in full. This is because credit card debt is one of the highest interest rate loans you can ever incur. Currently, the average APR for a credit card is 22.21%. However, you could receive a good offer at 18.66 if you have excellent credit. On the other hand, if you have poor credit, you get an average APR of 25.76%. For the sake of example, let's stick to 22.21%. So if you pay your credit card debt in full and on time, you get guaranteed return of basically 22.21%. Where can you even find that percentage of a guaranteed return? So not taking advantage of it and paying only the minimum required payment would be foolish. If you still can't imagine that, let's take a look at the example. For instance, you have a credit card debt of $3,000 because you went crazy on Amazon and bought a whole bunch of stuff you can't really afford and are living on credit cards. Let's say the minimum payment amount is 2%, which is $60 per month, and you opt only to pay that minimum amount. Let's say you stopped buying on Amazon or buying things you don't need. It would take 142 months or 11.8 years before you could pay off that debt at a tune of $5,492 in interest. Your total debt would be $8,462, 65% of which is paid to interest and only 35% to your original debt. It means you just unnecessarily spend $5,400 to your expense, which you could have avoided if you would have just paid it in full and on time. Stop buying stuff you can't afford to impress people who are not important, and if they are important, they shouldn't be impressed by your spending. So cut out all the excuses of woe is me. Now, if you had some kind of bind and you lost your job and you didn't have food on the table at all, I get it. I understand that. Now start to go look for another job, do a side hustle, mow grass, do whatever is needed to get back on track. The reason why I say this is a lot of wealthy people may not completely understand your situation, but I really do, because I've been there. My family's been there. And so take ownership back. Stop paying people exorbitant amounts of money, because the only people you're making rich is the credit card companies and the banks. And I know you could tell me that $3,000 is not a small amount and you can't pay it at once. That is why you should only use it if you can afford the effing thing. Pay for it full. A credit card isn't to extend you beyond your means in life. It's not to give you an instant gratification. It's not to glorify some purse or shoes you want because you want to impress someone at a party. It is a tool of wealth. That is why you should only use it if you can afford to pay it in full. And of course, there would be a few exceptions, such as you don't have enough income, you're using your credit cards to make up for daily necessities, or you went to college and used your credit cards for college expenses, which would be somewhat understandable. But if you're using it to buy luxury items to impress other people, like I just said, or you just can't help buying more Amazon stuff because it's sitting in your cart, you probably just don't need those kind of expenditures. You might even have a serious problem managing your finances. You keep sabotaging yourself. You're intentionally putting yourself in a situation that could harm your finances. Now think about this. You know what? I just don't have any money for food, Munif. Okay. You don't have to go to a restaurant. Sometimes, you could just buy food in bulk with a credit card and then have weeks of food left. So really just be wise on what you're spending on, right? It's very, very important that you do so. You got a new job, can't afford the clothes, go to a thrift shop. I mean, there are always ways to save money without putting your financial life in jeopardy, or your mental health for that matter. So avoid this mistake at all costs and prioritize paying it all off at once. I see too many broke people that live in an apartment that could barely make ends meet with a Starbucks cup in their hand. Don't be one of them. Money mistake number 2 is playing the lotto. Did you know that your chances of winning the Powerball grand prize is something like 1 in 292 million, basically the whole population of the United States, and 1 in 203 million for the mega lotto? That's even lower than 1 in 127,000 chances of being attacked by wildlife if you live in California. But despite these odds, Americans are still very enthusiastic about scratching off that lotto. A recent study said that 25% of Americans would buy more than 5 tickets when there was a big jackpot. and another 25% play the lottery at least once a month or more. And in one article from CNBC said a player usually spends about $86 a month for tickets. That would be $1,032 a year. With that amount of money, you can accomplish thousands of things. For instance, you can invest in a Roth IRA for 30 years. That's one ticket you can scratch off and make $104,307 at the end of that 30 years. That is a guarantee. Or you can go on vacation to Bali or on a cruise anywhere in the Caribbean and eat to your heart's content. Anyway, you could do plenty more meaningful things with that money you are planning to spend lottery tickets. While it is tempting to gamble on a very small chance, at the time of this recording, the jackpot prize for Powerball is estimated to be $680 million or $326 million if you go for the cash option. Remember that you will only have less than 1% of winning. So think about it before you go ahead and stand in line and buy that next ticket. Money mistake number 3, showing off your riches or flexing your money. Most of the time, it's people who don't have it that flex it. According to a study published in Social, Psychological, and Personality Science, 66% of individuals prefer a luxury car over a basic one. Yet they would instead go with the person driving the cheaper vehicle when it comes to making new friends. This means that the people you usually attract by flaunting your riches are either gold diggers or fake friends. And sometimes, whether you like it or not, most people dislike individuals who outshine them. As a result, instead of attracting friends, you might attract haters or bashers or people who would like to bring you down. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy your hard-earned money. I'm trying to say that instead of showing off your material possessions, live a life rich with meaningful experiences. Money mistake number 4, not investing your money. According to some surveys, about half of all American adults do not invest. For example, only 44% of workers contribute to a 401k retirement plan. And even though 79% of Americans work for companies that provide one, in terms of stock ownership, just 58% reported having one. There are several reasons, but sometimes it's not because they can't afford it, but they just don't want it. But regardless of your status in life, investing is still one of the best ways to build your wealth. As I always say, there is not that much that you can do by cutting costs and saving money on a high-yielding savings account. Not convinced yet? Well, how about we look at this example? Let's say you have a disposable income of $300 and you can either save it in a high-yield savings account, invest it, or let's say a Roth IRA. So currently the APY on traditional high-yield savings accounts is 0.59%. After 30 years of savings, the same amount, let's say that 0.59 is maintained for our example, you would get $118,445.11 with a total interest yield of over $10,145.11. However, if you invested that same amount in a Roth IRA, let's use a conservative APY or average percentage yield of 6% with a 25% marginal tax rate. After 30 years of investing $300 monthly, you would get $301,686. That is over 50% more than you are saving in a traditional savings account. By investing, you get additional peace of mind outside of your emergency fund, and most especially, it has the potential to outpace inflation and to increase in value, unlike traditional savings accounts, which is very sensitive to inflation. Money mistake number 5, investing more than you can afford to lose. Investing is a long-term game that involves a lot of risk. It is true that if you want to be aggressive and earn more profits, you should be able to take on more risks. Remember that smart investing involves calculated risk. You need to know how much money you can afford to lose. Just a little while ago with all this Bitcoin stuff, people were mortgaging their houses and doing all kinds of nutty stuff. People ask me all the time, are you doing Bitcoin? Yes, but only what I can afford. When you invest in only what you can afford, it'll prevent you from losing your capital. Losing money is never fun, and some people are capable of recovering, but others can't. It is estimated that 90% of investors lose their money in the stock market. And I'm not telling you to discourage you from investing, but I want you to understand that there is risk, and you need to know how much money you can afford to lose. Even if you lose, won't affect you or your family too much. There are even more extreme cases where people have committed suicide. While it is important to build your wealth, not at the expense of your mental health. Remember, the stock market is not the casino. That is why this last mistake is very important to avoid. That's all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end, and for that, here's a bonus tip. treat money as a servant and not as a master. As Francis Bacon said, money is a great servant, but a bad master. You should use money only as a tool to build wealth, protect those that matter to you, and means to have meaningful life experiences. Let your money work for you, not the other way around, where you spend every minute of your life chasing coins and paper bills. Don't let it control your life. Instead, put it in its rightful place as a tool that will work hard for you. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and found value in today's content. If you do, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to give this a big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about money tips, you can check out the next video, how to start your business when you don't even know where to begin.